What if you just saw something crazy in my like recent searches?
I'd let you be.
You wouldn't say anything?
No, I snatched your phone. That was not my place.
It's not an interview. Relax.
It feels like an interview.
Like, drop your shoulders, bro.
Oh.
Anyways, what's goody in the hoodie like A Boogie, back in the better like Bryson Tiller with another video. It's your boy Tresor, and I have my good friend here in the building. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Cassie, the Cassie May on Instagram. I am a tattoo artist. I'm a painter. I'm a certified microblading technician as well.
What does that even mean? Like, what is?
So microblading is semi-permanent makeup.
It's like the fake eyebrows, right?
Yeah. So it's like tattooing makeup.
People still do that?
Yeah, it's actually way better now.
Have you ever like done it on someone and you're like, bro, you don't need this?
No, I'm honest with my clients. If they don't need it, I'll tell them.
The reason that I hit Cassie up, I just felt like, I feel like my audience, you guys are mostly young. You might be looking to get your first tattoo, or you might have some. So I just thought I would just ask her certain questions that I know I had before I got any tattoos. My tattoo stories is crazy, by the way. The time I got my first tattoo, I might have to make that next video. But all right, boom, let's get into it. How'd you get into tattooing? Like, how did it start?
So it started with like me just constantly drawing. I'm an only child, so it was my escape. I was just always drawing, and then I got to the point where I always admired tattooing, but I was always kind of like intimidated by the industry. And so it was a lot of trial and error. Bro, so much trial and error, because there's no typical school to get into
There's no tattoo school?
There
I feel like there would be a tattoo school.
They're so frowned upon. There's some people in the city that offer that, but they're called apprentice farms, right? So they're just kind of like spitting out more and more people once they can tattoo like one straight line. They don't analyze them for blowouts or for like any possible mishaps, so it's awful. And they like to like take a lot of money, obviously. But eventually I got my like solid apprenticeship with Chronic Ink. That one, I was working at another shop beforehand, and I knew I was entirely willing to restart my apprenticeship as long as I was trained properly. And the really only way that you're trained properly is if you go to a reputable shop. Someone you really admire, you find an artist, and then they're your mentor. And then you learn under them for a while until they decide you're ready to graduate. And that's what I did after like so much time.
Yeah, how long did it take you to graduate? Because I remember those. I used to be making the missions up to where she stayed at to go get tattoos for free. It's not free no more, guys. So, yeah, how long did it take you?
It was during the lockdown. So it took me like a year overall. But before, like I'd say without the lockdown, maybe like 4 or 5 months. But I've done 2 apprenticeships. I felt like my first one.
You did one before Chronic?
Yeah. But like they can be dodgy, like I said, right? So sometimes people...
What, they have you tattooing in basements, like...
No, they have you tattooing...
biker gangs?
They have you, like, not even tattooing. You're cleaning the shop. You're doing whatever you need for them. You're pretty much like the shop... Can I cuss? You're like the shop bitch.
What is your preferred style of tattooing, and what kind of tattoos do you like doing the most?
Lately, I really like micro-realism tattoos.
And what does that mean for us that are just regular people and have no idea what micro-realism is?
So micro, think small, and realism is realistic, right?
Small, real things.
Yeah.
Like what, like baby hands or like...
Yeah, it could be a baby hand. It could be a pineapple. It could be a like camera lens. It could be anything.
So just like a real thing, not like a...
Yeah, like...
But what's not real?
Like, there's anime style, there's cartoon, there's, like, watercolor tattoos. There's so many different styles.
So, a majority of the time, do people come to you with their ideas, or do they ask you to develop it? And when people are asking you to develop it, like, how do you work through that with them to really get what they want, but, like, not make it not be stupid? Like, if you know it's a stupid idea, how do you, like... push them in a way, guide them in a way to where it would make sense.
It's baby steps. It's definitely a learning curve, right? So if somebody comes to you with a super outlandish idea, you go, okay, like you take it in and you think of what you can do with it, right? Like a creative. If somebody asks you to make a song, you're like, all right, this is craziness, but I could put it together, right? Whatever your medium is. But so I would then guide them. I take all of what they're telling me, sometimes you have to put it together, show them what they're thinking, and then
show them
put
that it
yours
looks crazy.
Together. They might not even think it looks crazy, but then you get an option from what you're thinking. And this is where like you need a professional artist who's willing to do this. They don't need to be charging you to do this. Just they'll get it done.
Yeah, what about that? About
example.
like people that like charge to make tattoo ideas.
Yeah.
Is that, do you agree with that? Or do you think that tattoo artists should just do it like?
Okay, so the issue is, like, a lot of the times, I think at least a deposit should be in place, right? If the deposit's in place, then you can at least hopefully ensure that that client's going to go with you. If not, you just design something that another tattoo artist will be completely, like, tattooing, and it's your work, right? So if you have the deposit, at least you have that peace of mind knowing, okay, I at least partially got paid for that.
Okay, that makes sense.
If you don't trust your artist and you're really pushing for your idea, maybe that artist isn't the fit for you. I was tripping, you're right, this is cool.
In your opinion, what's the best aftercare routine for after you get a tattoo? Some people do the Vaseline, some people do some like special stuff, some people do just some like lotion type thing.
Yeah.
What do you recommend?
So I use Sanoderm now. A lot of my clients like it a lot. It's a second skin. It's, I believe it was originally created for burn victims. So it allows your skin to breathe and acts like a skin barrier, right?
When did you get that? I've never had
You haven't had that yet? Okay,
No.
so you'll get the Sanoderm. Got it recently. I just started using it. It's this one there.
This?
So yeah. So it's like it's pretty much like Saran wrap, but it stays on your skin. Everybody recommends something differently, which is unscented cleanser and unscented moisturizer. So unscented cleanser can be like Cetaphil. Unscented moisturizer can be Lubriderm, anything like that. It doesn't have to be super fancy. There are a lot of different tattoo brands, which can be good too, but I don't think it needs to be super fancy. But yeah, the Sanoderm's been great. You just have to keep it out of water. And please, like, don't work out. We tell you not to work out because you invest in your tattoos. There's literally no point in doing it if you're going to work out. So I've seen so many
I'm not even going to lie, I've definitely... But my thing with that, my rebuttal for that is, what if I'm not working out that part of my body and I'm not, like, sweating?
So you have to think of your body as a computer, right? For a computer, if you have a tab open and it's loading, you're not going to go and start trying to open other tabs. So you focus on this one thing. It's like your immune system. Your body has to focus on healing this one portion. It doesn't matter if you're sweating. It doesn't matter all that other stuff. You're overworking your body. You don't need to do that. Just let it rest. No matter how small the tattoo. If you want to protect
For
your
how
investment,
long?
I say 2 weeks.
See, because that's crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's crazy. There's no way you can tell. Okay, and also, so what about like NBA players or athletes that are hella tatted? There's no way they cannot work out for 2 weeks.
They can afford them touch-ups.
You have to, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. I never understood that.
Yeah.
You're the professional, but I don't agree.
It's definitely what everyone recommends. Like as you're my homie, I'm gonna tell you, like, if you're working out professionally, I'm gonna say, we recommend 2 weeks, but I understand this is what you do for your living. I'm gonna put this on it, the Sanoderm, and then you care for it as you can. Try not to overheat. Try to really avoid the gym. Like, these are the potential side effects. This is me telling you as your friend, but my professional opinion, like, no liability, 2 weeks. That's what I said. Can't come
so what is like the least amount of time?
Okay, so if I do really small fine line work, by the time the Sanoderm's off in 5 days, it's typically good.
Cause yeah, I don't know. Even me, I don't know if I could just 2 weeks not go to the gym at all. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I get it. I totally understand it, but so it's the consequence, right?
And then you know how they say you're supposed to stay out the sun and stuff too. What if you live in a hot place? How can you stay out the sun? If I live in LA,
air conditioning. What are you talking about?
If I live in LA or like I live in Jamaica or something, and I get tattoos, you can't stay out the sun.
You stay air conditioned. You make it to your
I
destination.
have to stay inside I have to lock myself indoors for 2 weeks.
I'm trying to think of like what's a comparison I could make. I'm not even sure, but this is like the vow you make when you get a tattoo, right? I've had this happen before with clients, and they try to blame me, but I see their stories in the gym. I see their stories out at the beach. I see all that. Like, you cannot come for me afterwards. And they know, but, people want to blame somebody and not themselves.
Most challenging tattoo you've ever done?
So, during my apprenticeship, I did a Freddy Krueger portrait.
I remember you posting that.
Oh, my gosh. So, it was during COVID.
Didn't you, offer to do that?
Yes, I did. So, during
You didn't know how hard it was going to be?
I knew how hard it was going to be, but I knew it would allow me to graduate. Like, I knew doing it would take me over the edge. I was like, this is the one. This is the one. So that's another thing about apprenticeships. You should not be getting paid, and you should not be paying anything. Just a little tip. But yeah, so it was during COVID. So there was a capacity on the shop, right? I think there was 8 artists a lot of the time. And because you're an apprentice, you're not making no money for the shop, so they don't care about you. Oh. You're coming in after hours, so that way you're not taking up anybody's space. Tresor, I started working at 8 p.m. Okay? My shop was 3 hours from my house. I didn't have a car at the time. 3 hours from where I was living.
Oh yeah.
So I made it there. Like this was a difficult project on so many different levels, but whatever. So I get there, start working. I think we stayed until like 3 a.m. She had to work the next day. We broke it up into 2 sessions. A tattoo has to be done back to back if you're gonna do second session, or you have to like book it way far out.
Like I can't do like 4 days later.
No, it starts
Why?
tearing the skin and damaging the skin.
Oh,
Yeah.
like it would hurt more, or it just doesn't.
It ruins
work.
the tattoo. It ruins the tattoo. Like it just completely like picture like school glue when you used to rub it off your hand. It literally starts wiping away like that. It's disgusting. It's awful. Oh my god. Okay, like memories are coming back. So I spent 8 hours that day. I hand drew the stencil. That took me like probably 3 hours, maybe 2 hours, 2-3 hours.
To just draw the stencil?
To just do the stencil. Dude, you know what Freddy Krueger looks like? It was intricate AF, bro. Okay? And then she's supposed to come back the next day. I don't think she did. And then we ended up booking it far out like I didn't want to have to. So by the time she came back in, half of it was like gone. It was so faded. I had to figure out, guys, picture Freddy Krueger's face and all the intricacy of all the marks on his face, how to put another half of the stencil and line it up perfectly with the part that was already there. It was so hard. And then we did another two sessions back to back. I think in total it ended up being like 16 hours. By the end of it, my client was crying and my back was shot. Like we were both in the shop at like 3-4 a.m. Like holy crap, we did that.
I don't know, bro. Like see stuff like I don't know, like that type of commitment. 16 hours and I'm crying and like that's why it's just I don't know, bro. I can't do all that. How do you? Why do you keep looking at my notes? Let me just ask the questions. Okay, what are the most popular tattoo trends right now, or things that you think are going to become popular in the near future?
So
like, what do you see the most right now?
So that's new to me.
No, just in general. Like, what are the most common tattoos that you've been seeing?
Okay,
these
so
days?
I've been seeing a lot of
guys and girls. Break it up into guys and girls.
Okay,
Let's start with women.
Okay, so
I'm gonna tell you what I think. Roses, butterflies,
yeah,
animal paws,
of course,
or like the sleeve of
okay.
roses.
So for guys, it's the prayer hands, it's the roses,
doves,
it's the hourglass,
angels,
it's the clouds, it's all that, which is fire. Like those are staple tattoos. I think that they look great. I recommend them anytime. Like a guy especially, it's like I don't know what to get. I'm like that looks sick. Sculpture work always looks great. You can't go wrong. In order to get a really unique tattoo, you gotta sit and think about that. You can't like ask your artist, what should I get? Like, I don't know you. Like, what should you get? I don't know. So, and then for women, dude, those like Hailey Bieber came in and she switched up the game, bro. You know how she has all those like her and like Ariana Grande, they have all the really like dainty finger tattoos and like the neck tattoos and like everything done in like a gray wash. Drake just got a face tattoo as well, like really, really nice gray wash looking like super fine line. Those are huge because tattoos are like a lot less taboo now, right? So they're just more acceptable. Like when you get a job anywhere, people are cool with it. Nobody really cares, right? And
tell that to immigrant parents.
Yeah, I can't tell them nothing, bro.
Word.
That's on you. So, yeah, I would say for women, butterflies, fine line, just like script, and what's another one? Yeah, of course, roses are classic.
Dumbest tattoo ideas that you have seen.
Chisel.
It doesn't have to be from people that have come to you. Just ones that you've seen. You're like, yo, this is so stupid.
Oh my god, the other day I saw a man get a hyper-realistic color freaking six-pack on Instagram. He has a whole six-pack on his fat body. I was like, this is crazy.
Like, there wasn't makeup? Like, that's an actual
it's a
tattoo?
Yeah, I wish I had it to show you. If I find it, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and obviously, so I went through the comments like, and they're like, but this is so dumb. And I guess the guy who got it commented back and he was like, that's exactly why I got it. Ha ha ha. But like, how far are you going to take a joke? That's nothing. It's way too far to take a joke.
Yeah, what do you think about joke tattoos or like dare tattoos?
It's cute. I like that. I think I like spontaneous people.
I don't know.
It's a good story.
I don't like it. Yeah. What's that show where like the other person chooses your tattoo and someone like tattooed someone like shitting on the other person? You've never seen that show?
Okay, so tattoos where like you have to have consent.
Yeah, it's like a show where it's like, say it's like you and your ex.
Yeah. And
then your ex gets to pick what gets tatted on you, but you can't see it until it's done.
But you gotta be expecting that then. Those people are signing their souls away. That's how I feel. Yeah. That's awful, bro. I would never.
Yeah, I would never do that, bro. Yeah. Especially with someone that I don't rock with anymore.
But yo, I love those clients. Just clients who are like, whatever, and then I'll bring out, like, I'll message them an idea. They're, like, 100% down. That's how the Freddy Krueger one happened.
Have you ever messed up a tattoo?
Oh, my God, yeah.
What happened?
You made me throw up. Oh, my God. I know they're going to watch this.
What was it? Was it, like, the coloring? Did you, like, draw it wrong? Did you spell something wrong?
I forgot a whole word. It was during my first apprenticeship. Like I said, I did 2 of them, right? So it was during my first apprenticeship. I had no guidance. Nobody taught me nothing. They just sat me down. Can I explain to you how twisted this is? This is how you know you're in a bad apprenticeship. They charge the same rate to the customers, okay? They just took more from yours. Yeah. So they didn't tell people that you were an apprentice. They sat anybody with them. And this is on, like, a very busy road in Toronto. So this is a common tattoo shop. People would not know this. It's awful. This is part of what made me quit, because your morals are messed, but whatever. So they would charge people full price, not tell anyone you're an apprentice, and then when mistakes were made, who's that on? It's on me, like. And then what? I'm telling them I'm an apprentice and ruining the reputation of the shop. Like, it was awful.
It's not my fault. It's my first day here. I don't know what to do.
They're like, it was her first day here.
I would have threw everybody under the bus, bro.
I'm not that person. That's probably.
Hey, Chief, this is my 3rd day out here, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Like, sure, talk to big man over there.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so I was very new to it, still an apprentice. It's traumatizing to look back on. Okay, so.
What, you drew a dick on his shoulder or something?
No, bro. Kind gentleman comes in. I met him at my last job, so we were catching up. These are things that you all learn after tattooing for a while. You learn your social, you know how we all have social batteries? For working on a tattoo, it's different because you have to still focus on permanently putting something on somebody's body. So if somebody's talking to you too much, you straight up have to be like, hey, can't. Like, just straight up can't. You have to be honest. And that's so uncomfortable to do. You can imagine a middle conversation just being like, especially with somebody you're not familiar with, just being like, hey, I'm going to focus now. You have to really learn how to be comfortable saying that.
So how do you say that?
Hey, I'm just going to get in my zone, and you put in your headphones. That's the best way to do it. Best way. Headphones.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And people don't want to mess up tattoos, so, like, for sure, you know? But I didn't know that at the time. I felt like I had to keep up the conversation and the tattoo and everything else. So I'm just 100 things going through my mind. And so pretty much I was using this application where I put in the sentence that he wanted, and it was too big of a sentence to get all the same font at once, right? So I had to screenshot it in 2 separate portions and then put it into the application to see it all together at once. So as I'm doing this, he's talking to me, and I'm putting it all together, printed out, like, nervous, shaking, like, going, even, like, walking to the stencil machine and putting that through is such a big, like, nerve-wracking task as an apprentice, because you're feeling like everybody's watching you, right? They know you haven't tattooed much, so artists are like, oh, is she doing this right? And you're like, am I doing this right? So all your nerves are going. And then I print it out, I put it on him, he's like, yeah, looks good, let's go. I do it, it's like, I was like, yo, this is some of the cleanest script I've done up to this day. It looks great. I was so happy. Trezor, I'm taking pictures of it. I'm like, yes. He's like, yo, it looks great. You're not even an apprentice. You should be an artist, right? I notice. I finally read it. Like, my mind gets out of what the lines look like, and I read the sentence.
And your heart just drops.
Bro. Like, I still... I feel it to this day. I looked at it, and I was like, so I have to... He's like, he sees my face, right? I was smiling 2 seconds ago. He sees my face, and he's like, what? I'm like, listen, we offer tattoo removal here. That's the first thing I said. I'm like, listen.
Oh, I would be so cheap. What do you mean we offer removal? Removal for what? I just got it. Didn't even heal yet. What do you mean removal?
I didn't even tell him yet. I was so stressed. Oh my gosh, I felt like I'm gonna cry. I'm going through it all again. I was like, listen, we offer tattoo removal here. I made a mistake. It's not a big deal. Please don't overreact. I didn't want to lose my opportunity there, right? So I'm like, he's looking at me, he's like, what happened, right? I'm like, I missed a word. I missed a word in the sentence. The sentence still makes sense, but I missed a word. I'm trying to
That's what I was gonna ask. Yeah. Is it like, does it still work?
Yeah. But it was a quote by a rapper, right? Mm-hmm. It's a notorious quote. So people would know. I think if you're a fan, whatever, you would know it. And now it's off. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be joyous or some shit.
And it wasn't one where you could like put in the little word right there.
Nope. It was what it was. And so he saw it, he accepted it, he digested it, he was like, okay. I gave him my card to pay. I'm like, I don't even want you to, like, we weren't going to tell anybody what happened. I gave him my card, he paid with it. And then he took me and got me a coffee afterwards. And he gave me the nicest, like, relax, you're new to this, don't worry speech. Told me, like, go forward, understand that this mistake was made here so that you wouldn't make it, like, during a bigger opportunity.
Yeah. Honestly, low-key, I feel like I'd probably do the same thing. If it wasn't, like, terrible, like, if it was just, like, you missed a word, but the sentence still makes sense type thing, I'd probably be cheesing in the moment, but, like, I wouldn't be that upset. I know there's certain people that would flip, but...
I don't know, like, you just... Any reaction other than his would have hurt. Like, to see somebody cry, you know? Like, they're not mad at you, but they're just like, oh, my body's ruined. Like, or I have to go through all this pain of tattoo removal.
Yeah.
And, no, he was really kind. And thankfully, I'm sure he still has it and he's fine. He told me he'd come back to me for other tattoos. I'm like, you're such a nice guy.
What's the biggest difference between tattooing white people and tattooing black people?
Your value range.
Are you saying that white people are valued more than black people? What do you mean by value range, huh? What's my value?
No, the value range shrinks, okay? Don't fucking misquote me.
Clip that.
Don't you dare clip that.
What's the biggest difference between white people and black people?
Your value. Oh my gosh. So your value range shrinks, right? So your value range on a white piece of paper drawing, okay? We're going to compare like white paper to dark paper. White to brown paper, okay? When you're drawing on a white piece of paper, you have black, you have like different shades of gray, and then you have white, right? With a brown piece of paper, you have brown, so your range starts in comparison to the white one in the middle, and then you have up to the lightest one for that paper. Does that make sense? So for a white person, they would get the majority of them, right? Depending on how pale they are. And then for a darker person, you're working from the middle on.
So it starts at 5 and goes to 1, or 5 to 9?
1 to 5, right?
That's the black people.
So that's the dark, and then it goes to, that's the lightest you can get with a dark person, right? With somebody who's darker complexion.
Like, you could put a lighter fade, lighter shade of black and gray on a white person because it would show easier.
Yeah.
Basically.
Essentially. When you tattoo white ink on any skin color, your skin heals over top of the tattoo, right? Mm-hmm. So once your tattoo's healed, you're going to have like a small layer of your skin over it, and it will always appear a little bit yellow. That's why white tattoos aren't really good for like longevity. You're not really going to see it on anybody long term that great. There'll always be like some skin over it and you won't see it perfectly.
Okay. I kind of get what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying?
I kind of don't, but I kind of get it. When you start as an apprentice and stuff, do you notice that different shops, like, do they give you different types of people to work with, or are you like mainly just tattooing more white people? Like, do you have to purposely try and find more like darker people to practice on, or do they put that in your little curriculum? Because usually most tattoo artists that I see, like, all the pictures are always of white people.
Yeah. I think it's a huge flaw in our industry. I truly do. I think that it needs to be almost like an active effort, because even as you're growing up, right, like all of us start off typically as artists. We work on paper. How often are you drawing on even a brown paper? Just your knowledge from what I've been drawing since I was 6 to now has all been white and gray paper. So it's truly like a mental shift of having to learn how to work with that. And also, like, melanated skin is oftentimes more sensitive. So there can be other things to take into account, right? You have keloids, you have a whole other game that some people just don't want the liability of, which I think it's devastating, but ultimately it's on an artist to learn. And I think that if you want to be human, if you want to be inclusive as everybody should be, then you should make that effort to learn. There should definitely be a lot more focus on it in the curriculum. And I've definitely heard some things during my time in this industry which have been disappointing. But yeah, you just have to be the change you want to see, right? So yeah, there should be a lot more of a focus on it.
So is it because of the whole value range scale thing why colors don't really pop or work as much on darker skin?
Like I said, your skin heals over the color, right? So
it like makes it more dull.
It dulls it a bit
because of this.
Yeah, and it happens. White people's skin does it too, but obviously, like the same way you're not going to see your veins. Mm-hmm. the white skin is more translucent.
Okay, that makes sense.
It makes sense, right? It's not even like a bias thing or like a racist thing. It's just a matter of, like, I think a lot of people have to stop worrying about being canceled. I think that would also open up the grounds for that discussion a lot more, because if you're not sure how to work with this, you have to be comfortable to even say that. And if you're not comfortable to say that, you're not going to learn. And it's a learning curve, and we have to, if we're not willing to address that, then no change is going to take place.
Your biggest challenge is being a woman in the tattoo industry and being Black in the tattoo industry.
As a woman, it's the same as how you conduct yourself in everyday life, right? Like, you have to be careful. You have to see what a man's intentions are with you, or if somebody's speaking to you like you're less intelligent because they perceive you that way just because you're a girl, like whatever it is, you have to be alert. You probably just have to be more alert. But in terms of like walking into a shop and everybody looking at me or like whatever you picture in the movies, no, I don't think it's like that. I think as long as you carry yourself with confidence and respect, you will be respected and you'll be comfortable. And if anything, they're a little softer on you. Like, I genuinely say that my experience as a woman has probably been better than a man's, because there's a little bit more wiggle room, because you're a woman. Like, what? Picture a guy with his daughter versus his son. Yeah. But I've heard before about other shops, like in LA, that they're a little bit misogynistic and they don't even like want women working there. They don't have any women working there. And that's devastating, truthfully. But then you hear me come and say, like, oh, well, we have more wiggle room, and that's exactly fucking why. But no. Oh, my God. It sounds bad, Tresor.
How is that bad?
Oh, okay. So, I'd say my experience as a woman has been good for those reasons, but also I know that there's a possibility of it being bad because of those reasons, so I'm very aware of that. And I feel like it does make you have to work harder. Being a Black woman, I think that maybe initially I was nervous, but I know my work speaks for itself, and I think I could be anything, you know? Like, I think that as long as you work hard and your work speaks for itself, it doesn't matter. But no, I haven't had any like racist interactions or anything. Oh, yeah, a little. Okay, honestly, I feel like people think that you're naturally a little more aggressive, right? So if I'd have an issue and I'd have to speak to somebody, like, say, front desk or something about it, I'd have to make sure I was like very calm and well spoken, because if I'm riled up about something, like when things have happened, they're like, why are you yelling at me? And I'm like, what? Is this because I'm Black? That's the only time I've ever really felt like, is this because I'm Black? Like, I'm obviously distraught because the situation was, you know, upsetting, and I don't know how anybody else would conduct themselves. I'm not wilding and freaking out like, how could this happen? Like, I'm calm.
Yeah.
But
or they still think you're tripping.
Yeah. You think that's valid?
Been there. That happens with everyone. Just Black people in general. You can't tweak at all.
Yeah, at all. Yeah, and I realized that, and I was like, what? And it's like it's an out of body experience for a second. You're like, are we having the same conversation? So that's probably as far as it's gone, thankfully.
Being a woman that looks good and a tattoo artist, can you often decipher the like, yo, I'm interested in a tattoo just because they want to try to haul at you, and people that are actually like genuinely want your services?
A price will do that. The second you say the price, if they're not serious, you'll know, and then you
they'll
move
be like,
right
whoa,
along.
anyways, so what you doing this weekend? Type like that?
No, I haven't. I don't know. I've definitely tattooed people where they've then treated it like a date, and you're like, oh, no.
I could put your name right there beside this one that you're doing right now. Like,
yeah, it's definitely been. You just gotta, find your way around it. It's not a difficult conversation to maneuver when you've been there a couple times. At the beginning, it's awkward. You're like, you realize what they're doing. You're like, oh no.
Those are the people that you should just mess up.
No. Nuh-uh. I refuse. I just won't take them back again. If they make me uncomfortable, whatever, you can hit on me a couple times. I'm not tripping. But if you make me uncomfortable and you start talking crazy, then of course I'll never tattoo you again. I had a guy messaging me on Instagram, and then he booked a tattoo with me at the shop, and I had to go. I saw it come up in my emails, and I went and I told the shop, like, hey, do not book this guy for me. Take him right out, because he was being crazy in my DMs. And then they called him and told him that I couldn't do his tattoo. And he's like, okay, when else is she there? And they're like, no, she can't do your tattoo, right? He's like, okay, do you have any other women that could do my tattoo? And they're like, what, you're blacklisted. Like, what are you talking? You're only taking a woman to do your tattoo? No, so they just wouldn't even let him come to the shop.
Damn.
Uncomfortable.
Do you have to use a different type of technique to keep darker skin, like a tattoo, vibrant? Or is it still all the same thing, just if you did it properly, it would stay?
Yeah, I think that, like we discussed earlier, with it being like a learning curve, if you haven't tattooed that much dark skin, which not everyone has, because I think a lot of, especially like dark skin people, are probably reluctant, right? If you don't see a lot of dark, like people of color on the page, you're less likely to go to this person, and then it lessens their chance of learning, right? So, if that's the case and they haven't worked with much dark skin, then they probably won't really know how to approach it. You should never have to pay for a touch-up.
Really? I always thought you would have to pay for it.
You have a touch-up. If you go to a reputable shop, your touch-up should be free within 90 days, right? So that way we know, like, this, during this period of time, this is probably like either a flaw of whatever the circumstances were at the time, if you were going to the gym or whatever else was happening, or if the tattoo just wasn't done properly. Either way, it's taken care of by your artist within those 90 days, right? But if it's been years, you're not just coming back and getting it all touched up.
20 years later.
Yeah.
Yo, I think you guys missed a little,
I've had a
something
couple
like
of
that.
those.
All right, so I'm mainly like positioning this video for Black people.
Okay.
Since I was looking it up and there wasn't as many, obviously. So like, what is advice for like a young Black person that's going to get their first tattoo? Is there certain steps that you think they should take? Like, look for certain things, or like try to stay away from certain types of work and whatnot?
Yeah, so go to their page, right? Like, go to a tattoo artist's page. If you're not seeing anybody else of color on that page, your assumptions are probably correct. You know what I mean? Like, they're catering to lighter complexions, and that should be evident just through what they're promoting, right? Okay, say you book your tattoo, you get there in person, something feels off. You don't have to get the tattoo. Like, you don't ever have to get the tattoo. If somebody's being impatient with you, if somebody's being rough with you, if somebody's making comments you don't like, you can stop at any point. Don't forget you are paying. Like, don't let anybody make you feel uncomfortable enough to have to do what you've gone there for. You know what I mean? Like, truthfully, if you feel like they've rushed or they put less effort in, beyond the color of your skin, like, just you as their client, like, you should have top-notch service just as a paying customer, period. So if you don't feel like that's the case, then you can walk away at any point. Once the stencil's on, if you wanted... I have people put on the stencil 15 times. You know, I start getting a little bit frustrated, but we laugh about it and it's okay. It's permanent. There should be no issue, truthfully. If you want to put it on, obviously at times there are reasons that it would look better in certain places than others, and like that artist might try to tell you that it should remain in one space, but use your best judgment. You should be able to call a friend, reference, like, if they like it, you know. Tattoo artists are gonna hate me. Like, don't take all day with it, but make sure you're comfortable. You can also book a consultation to feel out your tattoo artist's vibe. That should always be available. So if you go on their page, you see a couple of people of color, you're liking how it goes, you have a tattoo, you want some help designing, you book a consultation, you go in there, you talk to them. Then again, use your best judgment. If you feel comfortable, go forward. Like, it should, honestly, you should be able to walk away saying that you're happy with your experience. You should never feel uncomfortable in any way.
Okay, that's good advice.
Yeah.
All right, for this last segment, I want you, because if you guys don't know, Cassie's done a few of my tattoos. Actually, I think a majority of them now. I want you to rate the tattoos of mine that you have not done from 1 to 10.
Oh no, Trezor already knows. I roast him 24/7. You gotta tell the story of how you got this. You guys gotta pressure him to tell the story of how he got
I will definitely tell.
this tattoo.
Like, I'll go in depth about it.
My gosh.
I'll go in depth about it in another video. But basically, long story short, I know one other girl that does tattoos. I've gotten, I think, 2 from her, and then my other ones I got in Cuba, and that was a wild story. So, all right, we're gonna start from one side. We'll start with the one that she hates the most. This one, 1 to 10.
1, 2,
Be honest.
4,
Be
5.
honest.
Okay, it has 5 fingers. Just checking. What? Trezor. Oh my god. This tattoo. I used to feel bad for making fun of you for this. This tattoo is the worst. One of the worst tattoos I've ever seen.
Damn.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw it myself, I was like, I was like, damn, this is not what.
As soon as it was finished, did he stencil it for you?
Like, yeah, I think they did. But, like, on the stencil, it looked different than, like... like, I thought it would be more, like, intricate. Because you know how on the stencil, like, it's not always all there.
Hold on. It was always that size, right?
Yeah, I didn't want it to be huge. But I thought the proportions... like, it looked different.
This is one of those situations where I'm telling you, trust your artist. Because your arm... Okay, as an artist, you're looking at this as different muscle groupings, right? So you're trying to take up space depending on where the muscles sit and all this other stuff, right? Show the people. That should have at least taken up, like, here. It should have at least been, like, bigger. Like, yeah, I don't know, like, baseball size. You know? Because now, unless, truthfully, Tresor, if you want to fill this all up with, like, sticker pieces or do something around it...
I mean, I'm going to have to do something. Like, I'm not just going to leave it like this.
You gotta cover it. Yeah, okay, so that's going to be... I'm going to rate that a 1.
Okay.
I can tell what it is. So, a 2. I can tell... Can I tell what it is? It looks like ice cream cone. I'm going to say a 1.5.
You see, I'm not one of those people that's, like, devastated by a bad tattoo. Because I'm just like... it's, like, it's bad, but it's not like it's on my neck or, like, it's not like it's, like, you know, I feel like it could be a lot worse, especially if it was just, like, maybe, like, if that was my only one, so, like, this is the only thing that you see. And eventually, I know I'm gonna fix it, so, like, all right, whatever.
It's supposed to be a moon?
No, it's not a moon.
Sorry.
Yes, it's supposed to be a hand holding a globe.
Oh.
So if you were to cover this, what would you do?
I don't know.
Miss Tattoo
we'd
Artist?
We'd have to really sit down and, like, okay, so how cover-ups work, I take a picture and then we work other designs that you like over it and make sure that it covers that well.
So would it have, like, is a cover-up, like, you put something on top of it, or is it, like, you take this and you, like, attach it to something else to make something else?
So you have to put it over it. It has to definitely be bigger than what you have, and all that you can leave visible, right, are the parts that are negative. So all that you can leave that can be seen truthfully are, like, the tops of maybe, like, the finger and then this portion. So it leaves you a really awkward negative space left to work with.
And that wouldn't even really make sense.
No, we could definitely work something out, but I haven't done a million cover-ups, right? So it'd be a little project that we'd have to do over time.
Damn. Okay. All right.
We've been talking about it for years. Guard your heart, guard your mind. You did that with this one?
I think I did this one also.
Why? He put it so close, Tresor.
You're telling me this?
You know what?
Out of 10.
2.
And you know what was crazy about this? Also, I noticed when I got home, he forgot to cross the T. I had to go to someone else and get them to cross the T on the heart. So he even forgot, like, to... See, guys, this is another reason why you probably shouldn't get a tattoo in a country where their main language isn't English. So I don't even know if he knew what this said. You know...
He doesn't have to. It's a matter of following lines, right? So, no big deal. If you speak English, that's the issue. That's one thing also as a client and an artist I've learned, going back to the biggest mistake I ever made, double check what it says. Double check the spelling, triple, quadruple check, as many times you need to check it. Yeah. And then once it's done, you should have looked at it again and been like, hey, it's missing.
But also, I think, like, when you get it, like, you're not fully taking it in that moment. Like, it's not like until you get home and you actually look at it, or especially if you did it and you kind of look once, you're like, yeah, it's cool, and then they wrap it up. Like, you're not really noticing anything.
But that's where the touch-up comes in too, right? So if you had 90 days, you would have gone back there, got the T crossed.
I don't think I could go back there.
I have a question. You were swimming, right? You were up in the sun, you were doing whatever, yeah?
No, I got it at the end. So I think I got this, like, before we left. Like, maybe 1 or 2 days before we left.
Okay.
So I don't think I was really, like, out like that.
No, everything's just off-center. Like, you just put this, like, kind of to the left, and then these are both to the right. It's like you know when you're on Word and it's all, like, to the right? Or, like, how on Instagram it lets you put all the letters this way or centered. He should have centered it. I don't know. Maybe he was trying to do a thing where it curved around the moon.
It's a globe, not the moon.
I literally can't. go to the next one.
All right, this one. King of Hearts.
That's a nice classic. I thought it was with the
Out of 10.
I thought it was with the other one. Tresor. Oh my god, you're really
This was separate. This
Okay.
was a separate time. Out of 10.
That's good.
Out of 10.
6. You know what? You know what? 3. Because this guy, every time he messages me, he's like, I want another tattoo. I'm like, what do you want? He is like, I don't know. So I'm naming things like the bird of Jamaica, the national bird of Jamaica.
That's dumb. Why would I be getting
I start naming shit, right?
hummingbird or what's the bird of Jamaica? I don't
Something
know.
like that. I don't know what's the national flower of Jamaica.
I'm
like,
not getting a lignum vitae.
I tell him get a lignum vitae, right? He says no. I tell him get a rose, get him something. No. So why did you get that? Why are you okay with getting? Everybody has that.
Yeah, but I just thought it was cool. There's absolutely no meaning behind this.
You fight me on the roses. You say no like every single time I mention it.
Me personally, I did not see that many people with King of Hearts.
Bro, it's like the most common couple tattoo.
The king and the queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I ran into a girl that I know, and she had the queen. And we
she
took a picture, and everyone thought that was my shorty.
That's what you do.
It'd be like that.
Such a
Okay,
Tresor move.
next one. This one.
That one.
This one was also in Cuba, but this was a different guy. This was actually the first tattoo I ever got ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not terrible.
Yeah, this one is definitely not as bad as those.
That one's like
but
okay, but what's a 10? Like.
I don't know. I don't think I even have any tattoos that would be like a 10.
Okay,
It's
I'm gonna
not
give that one like a 4. It's not bad.
Okay, what else?
You don't I don't hate that one. That one gets a 4 too. I can tell what it is. That's what's important. I can tell what it is. Look, and the white held up nice. You see it? I see the whites.
All right, well, that's it.
10.
Yeah, okay, and now rate the ones that you've done.
All 10.
Let's start here. This was the first one that she did.
Yup. Oh, I have my noisy ass coil machine. Need some work on the lines. Okay, it's not bad. I'm gonna say like a 6. Nice.
And
And I love the
unbiased
placement.
about
I love the
yourself.
placement. Look, show them. It flows so nicely with his shoulder.
This one here.
I love it.
All right, this one.
That one I think is dope, and it got a lot of props at the shop. Yeah, I think it's super cool. I am gonna give it an 8. And the blacks held up nice. This one I'm gonna give like a 9. I think that's a sick idea. It's a sick idea.
Not just the idea, the
tattoo looks good too. It all looks good. I can tell what's going on. Looks sick. You get compliments on it, don't you?
I mean, I'm never really bare chest out. Where's the
10?
This one.
10.
You like this one?
Family. I love it. Yeah, it is baby Tresor in there. Cute.
Well, guys, that's it for this video. Where can they holler at you if they want to get your services?
Instagram, TheCassieMay. There's my link to the website up there. It's thecassiemay.com. And sometimes I answer DMs. Depends how I'm feeling. No, typically not. You can click tattoo inquiries on thecassiemay.com, and then from there.
But for real, what are we gonna do with this?